Well, that was just an instant classic. What a game here tonight at Folsom Field. 38-31, Colorado over Baylor in overtime, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat in this one. And as Coach Prime said in the post-game press conference, we were that close to having that be a completely different tone in the post-game press conference, but not tonight. Shedeur, 2 seconds left on the clock, rolls out to his left, down 7, heaves it towards the end zone, gets drilled, gets plastered as he let the ball go. LaJonte did a great job coming back to it, gets his hands under it. Colorado forces overtime. Michael Welch with the touchdown. And then Travis Hunter with just another sensational play to add to the catalog of his college highlights, specifically his Colorado highlights. And I mean, he's made some massive plays. Outside of the TCU interception, I don't know if any was bigger than that. Maybe the catch, the 3rd touchdown against North Dakota State, that was right up there. And then tonight, forcing a fumble on literally the goal line to win that football game. Instantly, we're standing right over there. You know, we're down on the field watching the last 5 minutes of regulation and watching overtime, and instantly I knew that ball was out. It was just textbook, hat on the ball. That's how you teach it. And of course, that's how you execute it. And few do quite like Travis Hunter. Just another sensational night, 7 catches, 130 yards. If he's not the leader in the clubhouse for the Heisman Trophy right now, I'd like someone to tell me who is, because I don't believe them. There's nobody playing better football in the country than Travis Hunter right now. Just a sensational first 4 games to the year, 5th consecutive 100-yard receiving game. And the other part of this that's so big is clearly this is the first game of Big 12 play. Colorado starts off with a win, with a huge win. You needed to get this one if you wanted to achieve some of the goals this program has, and they got it. And it really doesn't matter how. At the end of the day, it just matters that it's a win in the win column, and that's 3 now this season, just 1 away from matching last year's total. And I believe snapping a 6-game losing streak to Power 5 opponents, well, Power 4 technically now, but massive win. There was a moment there in the first half where you're just shaking your head going, they're going to beat themselves again. They're going to beat themselves again, aren't they? It's 24-10 at one point, right? And, you know, special teams mistakes were really the story of that first half. Huge punt return, then the kick return for a touchdown. They could not fit it tonight. And then, of course, you know, going for the pooch kick at the end of the first half, which I don't know what they were thinking. Baylor had 47 seconds with 3 timeouts. I'll have to go back and watch the tape, because as it stands and as it stood in the moment, I was just flabbergasted by the decision to pooch that. I know that they had been susceptible in coverage, but Baylor was in great field position with a chance to add a field goal after Colorado had scored a critical touchdown from Omarion Miller right before the end of the first half to make it a 1-score game. Then, of course, the Buffs got the ball at a halftime, but you know, that moment, you just, oh man, what is going on there? But the reason Colorado survived that and many other crucial situations tonight is because of their defense. We've been talking now the last few weeks. Is there a case beyond a shadow of a doubt that this team has improved? A few weeks ago, didn't really look like it beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? Like there are some areas that they had shown improvement, but tonight, I think it's clear that, first of all, from an improvement perspective, led by their defense, who did a wonderful job pretty much all game long, but in the second half, getting Baylor off of the field, stopping the run. Running backs did not have a big night, and those are, you know, their 2 best weapons. It was their quarterback and the quarterback run that got Colorado again. Another one of those 4th and 1s where you just kind of bust it loose, and, you know, similar to what we saw against CSU last week, but, you know, it's 24-10, and you're like, man, if you don't have that, the punt return, you know, at the beginning of the game, you give up the field goal, right? Big punt return, and it's all right, that's 3. Then the kick return, that's 7. And if you don't give up either one of those scores, you know, flip the field, allow Baylor to, then you might have taken a lead at half, 17-14. That was the frustrating part. It felt like, man, Colorado was dominating time of possession. They were winning this football game, but just too many self-inflicted mistakes and really big and really bad ones. Coach Prime in the post-game press conference called their special teams awful. Jace Feely, still can't get it consistently into the end zone at altitude. That's a huge problem. They should have gone and gotten a leg that could make that work, and unfortunately they didn't this offseason, and now Feely's hurt. Who knows what's going to happen? That pooch kick at the end of the first half, he went off hurt, and then from then on out, Colorado did not trust themselves to kick it the full length of the field, which, again, you do that last year, you're giving up at bare minimum a field goal. This year, you can actually get away with it because your defense is extremely improved. Their secondary was really good. Now, DJ McKinney got beat late in the game for a big touchdown, right? There was a couple of plays here and there, but that's going to happen. Actually, I think that was late in the game. The score to go up 31-24 might have been the first passing touchdown the Buffs have allowed all year long thus far, which is impressive through 4 games, almost nearly 4 complete games without giving up a score through the air, despite the fact that, I guess, you know, outside of CSU really, but without Horton, it didn't matter. They haven't really played any elite passing offenses. They played dominant rushing attacks. And last year, one of the biggest areas of concern and one of the things that let them down time after time after time, they would have won more games if they were better in this area, stopping the run. And Coach Prime talked about running the ball and stopping the run as priorities 1A and 1B this offseason. Now, the first few games of the year, the running the ball part just kind of took a little bit to get going. Charlie Offerdahl didn't have a lot of success early, and neither did Dallin Hayden, but kind of tough when you're really not getting carries. The last 2 weeks, you've seen an identity shift from this team. It had to happen. It was crucial that it happened, and it's made a big difference. Formationally, they're playing differently. The tight end's on the field more. They're running from under center. They're running out of the pistol. They're doing things a little bit differently. Again, I want to see that creativity continue to be instilled. We saw it even more. I think it was, you know, fourth quarter might have been Travis on the end around, and then you had the double reverse to Jimmy that picked up 5 yards. But again, more good signs, but the offense tonight felt disjointed. I don't think Shedeur played his best game, and he admitted as such afterwards. He missed a few reads early. He was behind on some of those quick slants. The quick game that normally is just lethal for Colorado, tonight wasn't as effective. They struggled to get to it. Shedeur saw so much pressure tonight. I didn't see the final sack number. It had to be 7 or 8 and hit a bunch more. The offensive line, they did enough to get the job done, but it was because their quarterback made some monster plays down the stretch, and not just him. The wide receivers on this team, I thought, really made some good plays. As far as the running game goes, Michael Welch with his first career touchdown and then the score in overtime as well, thought he was fine tonight. Isaiah Augustive, thought he ran the ball really well when he got in there a little bit later. The two of those guys getting the job done the last 2 weeks. Again, this team doesn't need to be one of the best rushing teams in the country. They just have to make the defense respect their running game, which I thought tonight Baylor did. And the other added element of that running game is Shedeur ran a lot more tonight. Now, a lot of those were scrambles, and obviously I think all but one was a scramble. But he did have the read option into the end zone. I don't believe it was a design keeper to pull it. I think that was, he's just reading the end there, and, you know, he gets on the board first. But him being able to extend plays and actually run and be a threat to run, well, that doesn't let the defense sit in quarters. And I thought, you know, I'm going to have to, again, go back and look at the tape, but I thought in the second half, they just played too high and just kind of split the field in fourths and just said, all right, beat us. And CU struggled. Like, it was not smooth. Shedeur didn't have time by the time he hit his back foot to operate. I didn't think he got rid of the ball fast enough tonight. And he had to deal with the conditions. It did rain tonight quite a bit, and consistently too, and CU handled it well. Considering you make the miracle throw to LeJontay Wester at the end of the game and he makes that play in the driving rain. I mean, that was, you know, right now it's even lightened up since then. That was the most it rained all night, at least that I saw, maybe a little bit in the first half, but didn't bother Colorado. These guys were prepared for it. You have to credit the coaching staff. And this is a monster win. Like, we can break down, I thought Cam Silman-Craig was great. Shane Coates with a big sack. I thought defensive line today was solid. Was very solid. There were a couple of missed assignments, but nothing terrible. Again, lack of pressure on the quarterback, but he, you know, I think he's probably a little bit more mobile than some of us were expecting. He did a good job extending a few plays with his feet as well. And Colorado comes out on top of this one, which is the most important part. You had to wind up on top, you know, and Shedeur talked about afterwards a whatever it takes mentality. He's got it. He's got it. And for him, I don't think he cares about individual numbers this year. I really don't. I really don't. The wins, you get the W's, and the rest of it takes care of itself. And it helps when you got a guy like Travis Hunter, you know, in your hip pocket right there riding with you. There's a moment there in the third quarter, they're down 24-17, just can't get it going. And I even put it out on social media. Hey, time maybe to dial up 1-12 here. They didn't that drive. They went 3 and out. It was play calling tonight was up and down. It was just up and down. They got to dial that in just a little bit. But I think on the play calling though, I think they're working so much new stuff into the offense that, like on a week-to-week basis, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think that's part of it where, you know, even for Pat, there's a lack of familiarity with a lot of the stuff they're trying to implement, because at least to my eye, the offense that they're running, they've implemented quite a bit since even North Dakota State just a few weeks ago. And, you know, the first quarter of the season is over and Colorado goes 3-1. If you would have said that to anybody preseason, I'm pretty sure they probably would have signed up for it. The Nebraska win would have been nice, but you're in a really good spot right now heading into Central Florida next week. We'll get there in just a second. Nakai Hill-Green made some really big plays again tonight. He has been a huge addition to this team, undoubtedly. Preston Hodge with some good plays. Like I said, McKinney got beat there. BJ Green, I thought, was a force tonight, as was Okunlola. Again, not getting to the quarterback, but at least setting an edge in the rush, in the run game. Outside of a few times the quarterback broke contain, I thought they did a good job with that. Offensively, this is one of those where I will definitely have to go back and look over everything as to what didn't go right. Just felt like, you know, Shadur's off here, the execution's off here. They dealt with more drops tonight, but, you know, it was wet out there. They did the wet ball drills after practice on Thursday, which is exactly what Coach Prime said they were going to do, you know, at the Tuesday presser. Either way, I think I come away from tonight just, you know, this was another moment for Shadur and for Travis, clearly. This is a huge one for Travis, and I think his Heisman campaign, but this was a big one for Shadur because he got beat up. And in a game that he got hit as much as he did today, you probably lose that 9 out of 10 times. Somebody or something was smiling down on him tonight, because that was, you know, I've got the perfect angle there at the end of the game of the throw to LeJonte. He rolls out to the left, just, I mean, perfect touch, driving rain, wet ball, lets it go, and LeJonte did an excellent job to get both of his arms under it. There was another big one to Travis that they called back. I couldn't tell if that was, you know, a catch or not. Will Shepard, I think, had another really big one they called back after originally calling it a catch. It could have been an even bigger night for the offense, and maybe some of the struggles they had at times probably look a lot different if a couple of those balls are, you know, are caught. But at the same time, I mean, beggars can't be choosers around here. Some unbelievable plays from the wide receivers tonight. Travis Hunter, I've run out of superlatives. People don't understand how good he is still. He is the best player in college football. He's one of the best athletes that I've ever covered. To continually put in the type of work he does, game in and game out, and now we're getting a chance to talk to him this year, which is so nice, because Travis is a wonderful young man, and he should be one of the faces of this program. And I know he wants to make it about the team, but it's important that they put his face out there. And tonight he came into the post game with Coach Prime, which was, Coach Prime said that Travis wanted him to do it with him. So again, just a great representative for this university, and what a blessing, honestly, from a CU fan perspective, to be able to get to watch this young man play football. I mean, everybody, they got some real talent, but this is, you know, special when you see it. Special looks different, and that young man is special, and he's gonna have one hell of a career, because I don't know what's stopping him. Not the guy across from him, that's for sure. We'll see what it looks like at the next level, but I have every ounce of confidence in him that he will have an unbelievably bright career, and I can't wait to watch it unfold, and just feel very grateful to be able to have been around him the last 2 years and kind of get to see what that looks like. Because as I said, you know, I called it special, but greatness is the same. When you see greatness, you can recognize it, and that's what we're watching with Travis Hunter. I mean, the play he makes on the 4th and 1, everybody and their mother in this stadium is thinking, all right, well, here comes Shadur, double overtime, here we go. Hat on the ball game. Just an unbelievable atmosphere in here tonight. It was electric despite the rain. Everybody stayed till the very end, even though there were moments where it's like, maybe hit the exits, because I don't know, maybe they blew their chances. Like, you know, there's the one moment, it's a 4th and 8, you're in plus territory at Baylor's 35. And they decided to go for it, because I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh God, this is a tough call. Like, I even said it on social media. I go, I mean, I'm not gonna hammer, you know, Coach Prime one way or the other, because it's 4th and 8, you're on the 35, but you probably got to kick it one way or another, whether or not you're gonna send Mata out there, which he did make a big kick tonight. But it was 40, you know, it's at the 35, so you figure, man, that's right at the edge of his range, in the driving lane. He's kicking low. I don't know if I can trust him. So they went for it there, and it did burn them. It did. That was a situation where you take the false start and you punt it. It's hard. It's hard to want to do that, because you want to stay aggressive. You've got momentum on your side right there. It's 24-24. Your defense just held them, right? Massive turnover on downs. And then, you know, you go for it there and you don't get it and you turn it right over. Baylor marches right down the field and scores, versus maybe taking the delay of game instead of calling the timeout there, which you would have had for the end of the game. And again, this is hindsight 2020, but if you take that delay game, back up 5 yards, punt and try and pin them down, I like that way more than the 4th and 8 call. And I think Shedeur might have gotten sacked or tackled at the line of scrimmage. Either way, that would have been the storyline. That decision would have been the storyline had that miracle at the end of the game not taken place. That would have been, and Coach Prime acknowledged as much in the post-game presser, which is why he said it could have been a very different tone to that press conference. And he knows that. I mean, the margin between a win and a loss is razor thin. It's razor thin, which is why it takes a complete effort and why you need a few breaks to go your way. Baylor got them all early. Felt like Colorado got more of them late, and they certainly got them when it mattered most. This is, you know, the TCU win was huge, and I think that's probably the signature win last year of the Prime era thus far, but tonight was monster. I put it right up there with that one. The resiliency, I mean, if you lose this game, you go to 2-2 heading to UCF, which is a tough place to play, very tough place to play. Now you're gonna go across the country in another rain game, supposed to be nasty next Saturday in Orlando, you know, newsflash. That one, you know, I'm pretty sure is also going to happen. It's raining on me right now. They did a great job, though, handling the conditions. You really, you know, early maybe a little bit of a struggle, but they got it. They got everything under control, and I don't think the conditions really affected them at all, especially not when Shedeur lets go of the ball with 2 seconds left from like the 50 and puts it, you know, exactly where, you know, LeJohntay needed it to be, and, you know, they tie it up there, and the rest is history in overtime. Really impressive win. Gutsy win. This is the type of win, in my opinion, that builds a lot of character. Now, again, you've got to approach, you know, moving forward here with the mentality that, hey, look, we understand that's one. That's just another building block. They did a great job getting the running game going and executing against Colorado State. I thought they did a very nice job. They did what they needed to do. And again tonight, you did what you need to do, and you never apologize for a win. And now you've stacked a couple. Now you got a little momentum going. I imagine that Central Florida game next week probably gets picked. I mean, it's already going to be a national television game, but I think we're waiting to hear till tonight, actually. It might even be out now. I just haven't seen about what the television time is. I'm guessing another night game, because they're going to want to keep putting Coach Prime and the Buffs, you know, prime time, right, for everybody to see. I mean, this is, what an atmosphere. Like, I'm trying to think of crazy games that I've seen in this building. Clearly the CSU game was monster, but it felt different. It felt like even though they won, it was just a huge sense of relief. Tonight, to me at least, this didn't feel as much of a sense of, relief as it does a big step forward. Now, as long as you're just hyper vigilant that the focus, now you got to focus even more, because now the buy-in factor is easier to sell to the kids, because look, if everybody does what we need to do, we can do this. And I think for Coach Prime this week, it's a big selling point. Like, there's no turning back. There's only going forward now. And if this doesn't give you the confidence to want to attack it moving forward, then I don't know what does. This is what it's all about right here. The Colorado State game, I'm trying to think of like crazy finishes. Nebraska in, what was that, 19 was huge. Like the recent history. That's as dramatic a moment, in my opinion, the Wester catch. I mean, maybe the Jimmy Horn play last year, but that one with 2 seconds left in a nasty rainstorm, you know, first game back in Big 12 play. That was huge tonight. A massive win. You could just see again, less of a relief and more of a step forward. More of a step forward. But, you know, it's a week-to-week thing, and they took care of business this week, and that was the most important thing. And Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter continue to write their names into Colorado lore. LeJontay Wester, add his name now too. That's his, what, 1/4 touchdown in the last 3 games? That's big for him. Shedeur with his 1,000th career completion, he's just a stud. The beatings that he took tonight, I mean, just shot after shot. The one to Will Sheppard that Sheppard dropped, and honestly, thank goodness he did drop it because there were 2 seconds left. If Will Sheppard catches that ball, I mean, the clock will stop on the first down, but I mean, once they set the ball down, time starts winding. You maybe get a snap off from wherever he caught it. I didn't have a chance to see the replay because I was down here on the field, but you might not get that snap off. Game might be over. So, you know, everything happens for a reason, I guess. And incredible drama, incredible game, and Colorado moves to 3-1. Massive win for this program. And like I was saying, and I don't know if I finished my thought earlier, the TCU win I consider probably the signature win of this era so far, just because you upset everybody, you bust through the doors onto the scene. But tonight was big. Tonight was big. Now that Baylor team, it's not a world beater, but tonight you grinded, you weathered adversity, you made mistakes, but you came out on top, and that's what matters. And now you head into UCF 3-1, feeling great and ready to attack that matchup in Orlando in another rainstorm. So Dallin Hayden dressed tonight. Maybe we see him back. Hopefully we see Chidozie and Nwankwo, you know, here moving forward. How about that too, by the way? Colorado taking a few big injuries on their defensive line, yet popping right back up. That's where the depth is. That's where the depth is this year that didn't exist last year. Like this game last year, they lose 10 out of 10 times. I don't know how many times they win it this year, but I don't really have any interest in finding out. You take it, you learn from it, you move on, and you feel pretty damn good about winning the very first conference game back in the Big 12. And the eyes of the nation are certainly, you know, they never left, and they're still here, and they were impressed tonight. I mean, again, as I said, the leader in the clubhouse, Travis Hunter for Heisman, has to be. Shedeur is I'm just super grateful. Like, I find myself during different moments in the game just being super grateful that we get to watch them, because it's gonna be way different when they're gone. So I'm really just doing as best a job I can at staying in the moment and just appreciating it, because it was not that long ago that there was just meaningless football played on this field. That's not the case anymore. And I'm grateful for it. Makes it a lot more fun for sure. We'll see how it goes this week. 3-1 for the Buffs now, 38-31 in overtime over Baylor. Colorado 1-0 in the Big 12 and moving on to Central Florida. We'll talk to you this week.